At the edge of a quiet town in southern Poland lies a name forever etched into history: Auschwitz. Today, it is a place of memory, of mourning, and of haunting lessons. But behind the fences, the barbed wire, and the infamous sign that reads Arbeit macht frei, work sets you free, lies a story of unimaginable cruelty, meticulous planning, and the darkest depths of human obedience. What made Auschwitz not only a symbol of evil, but an almost industrial mechanism for the destruction of life? Many people do not realize that the sign was intentionally misleading. It implied a false promise of freedom to those entering, a small psychological manipulation amid unspeakable terror. Auschwitz began in 1940 as a small concentration camp for Polish political prisoners. The Nazi regime needed a place to imprison, control, and eliminate those they considered enemies of the Reich. Within months, it expanded, evolving into a vast network of camps, including Auschwitz I, the original camp, Auschwitz II, also known as Birkenau, designed specifically for mass extermination, and Auschwitz III, Monowitz, built to provide forced labor for industrial factories. The camp system was carefully designed with architecture in mind. Railway lines led directly into the camp, enabling the Nazis to transport tens of thousands of people with efficiency, often deceiving them into thinking they were simply being relocated. When the prisoners arrived, often by cattle cars, they were met not with mercy, but with dehumanization. Names were stripped away, replaced with numbers tattooed on their arms. Men, women, and children, no longer individuals, became statistics in a ledger of death. The first shock was always psychological. Fear, confusion, and the disorienting routine of forced obedience. Some prisoners survived long enough to notice subtle differences in treatment. Those who were classified as able-bodied laborers had slightly better odds of survival, while the elderly, children, and sick were often sent immediately to gas chambers. Life in the camp was a carefully constructed system of oppression. Prisoners were forced into exhausting labor, often from sunrise to sunset, under brutal conditions. Starvation, disease, and exposure to harsh elements were routine. Guards and officers ensured compliance, while small acts of resistance were swiftly punished. Hygiene was non-existent. Overcrowding and lack of sanitation made diseases like typhus rampant. A little-known detail is that prisoners often formed secret networks of support, passing small amounts of food or information to help each other survive. These micro-acts of humanity were often the difference between life and death. Auschwitz was not simply a prison, it was a factory of death. Gas chambers and crematoria were built to kill efficiently. Medical experiments, often conducted by notorious figures such as Joseph Mengele, targeted twins, dwarfs, and other marginalized groups, sometimes for pseudo-scientific reasons, often for sheer cruelty. The records were meticulous. Each death was logged, each arrival documented, each experiment catalogued. By 1945, over 1.1 million people had perished here, the vast majority of them Jewish. Fewer people know that Auschwitz also contained a network of underground tunnels and hidden rooms used to coordinate these atrocities. A system so complex, it functioned almost like a chilling bureaucratic machine. One of the most disturbing aspects of Auschwitz was how ordinary individuals became participants in evil. Many perpetrators were average men, bureaucrats, guards, and administrators who rationalized their actions as just following orders. The camp became a testing ground for obedience, a reminder that under certain systems, morality can be stripped away. The term banality of evil, coined by philosopher Hannah Arendt, finds its clearest illustration here. Some guards even kept personal diaries or letters home, treating their participation in mass murder as a mundane routine, revealing the terrifying normalcy of systematic cruelty. In January 1945, Soviet troops liberated Auschwitz. The soldiers found survivors, emaciated, traumatized and sick, but alive. The world finally glimpsed the horrors that had been hidden behind fences and signs. Survivors would carry the weight of what they endured for the rest of their lives, while the liberators themselves were confronted with a scale of cruelty that defied comprehension. While liberation brought freedom, it also revealed the remnants of Nazi efficiency. Warehouses full of clothing, shoes, and personal items stripped from victims, standing as silent testimony to the lives extinguished. Auschwitz stands today as a museum and memorial. It reminds us not only of what humans are capable of when hatred is unchecked, but also of the importance of memory. Scholars, educators, and descendants of survivors continue to teach future generations. Visiting Auschwitz is not just an act of remembrance, it is a confrontation with the darkest parts of history and with the moral questions that persist even today. We remember, not to dwell in the horror, but to ensure it is never repeated. Auschwitz is more than ruins. It is a warning, a lesson, and a call to conscience. And in remembering the victims, we honor their humanity and reaffirm our own. Many visitors today report that walking the grounds, seeing the barracks, and reading the personal artifacts left behind evokes both sorrow and a profound sense of responsibility. A reminder that history's lessons are only meaningful if we carry them forward.